As we celebrate SG50, we bring together some pioneer teacher educators in the hope of learning from their rich and vast experiences as teachers in schools and also in NIE.
The thought never occurred to me that I was in the wrong profession. I enjoyed teaching, I enjoyed my own teaching, and if I enjoyed myself as a teacher, then I think my students would enjoy me as a teacher.
A lot of children were coming to be school age. Then they were building a lot of schools and they needed a lot of teachers. So they went to the bus stop and said, "Who wants to be a teacher?" So I said, "Yeah, me."
You know, your students didn't know something or other, and you help them to learn that something or other. And that is very satisfying, you know, to help your students learn what they did not know before. I think that is probably the best part of teaching, to help impart knowledge.
We as teachers can be a great source of inspiration or just motivation or just friendship to all these kids that go through us.
Nelson Mandela said, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." The Singapore education system has gone through many changes over the years. These pioneer teacher educators have witnessed these changes and were at times the catalyst for change. Among the different hats they wore during their career in education, their most significant role was educators whose approaches towards teaching in the classrooms were both personal and inspiring.
Allow them to decide on how they want to learn and not just depend on one single textbook, which would mean one single sort of viewpoint, the author's viewpoint. So the children begin on their own to look up things on computers and read up different sources, and they are given a chance to make up their own minds. So they are more open to different viewpoints, and in a way they get more opinionated even, because they develop their own opinions. They become more independent. And that is what you're trying to do after all, because you're trying to develop a thinking society, not a society that sits back and gets people to think for them.
We are supposed to teach them thinking skills and information technology, and that's a key word. Teachers were considered as facilitators. Previously more on teaching, but now we are considered facilitators. We teach them to access knowledge from various sources.
So the teacher has to be much more well-read, much more open to different opinions coming, and much more flexible. And that might be hard. Remember that the teachers don't come from the same generation. So they too have to undergo a change in their attitude towards learning and towards teaching. Because you have children doing their own research, and if you don't keep up and you don't do any research and your own knowledge of content is so narrow, you are going to get caught out. The children are going to say, "Teacher, teacher, I know this, and what about this, and what about that?" And if you don't know, you are going to, be seen in a bad light, so to speak, yes? And even, I think, parents expect more of teachers, so it's more difficult for you.
You have to present your work in such a way that it is clear. Very often, pupils don't like a subject because it's not clear to them. Well, you have to discover, find out what is difficult about that subject. Why do the students find it difficult? And if you have found the answer to why they find it difficult, then try and make it easy for them. Simplify the thinking that goes behind that. So that help, in other words, your students to think, and help them to think clearly. And when you have been able to do that, to help their students to think clearly about the subject, and help them to enjoy the subject, because you enjoy it yourself, then that's a great deal of satisfaction.
You want to show that everything that you teach every topic has a everyday use. So when you're preparing your lessons, you must say, hey, why am I teaching this? Why is this topic in the book, in the syllabus?
Nothing is ever really lost to us as long as we remember it. In our past as teachers, we will meet students who will become part of our memories, good and bad. Even though these 4 remarkable teacher educators have left the classrooms, their memories of their time in schools remain with them.
There was one case whereby I told the students to bring a frog to the classroom for the next lesson. So normally, the moment you see frogs, they are what they call outbursts. You say, "Oh, frogs dirty." You say, "No, it's not dirty. When you are learning, nothing is dirty." So I was able to motivate them, and they brought the following week they brought the frogs to the classroom. And what happened was, one student, the frog jumped out from the container. So once the frog jumped out from the container, she was able to grab the frog, and then she came to me, "Teacher, can you put this frog back? Can you put this into the container?" So I didn't know it was a frog. So I opened my hand and then I touched the frog. Suddenly, there was outburst from me. Everybody laughed. Because I myself, I'm scared of frogs, but I was able to motivate them to catch frogs and to bring to the school. But the moral of the story is that you are able to motivate them, but you do have some problem on your own.
Relationships are very important in teaching, and your relationship with your class is very important. But if you have a huge class, it's difficult to have a relationship. Because I remember I was asked to give a lecture to about 400 students, and really that was not the same thing as teaching a small group of boys, that you could have a relationship with, joke and so on in class, and relax and enjoy yourself as a teacher.
For some, teaching is just an ordinary job, but for others, it is a purposeful and passionate calling.
I think, first of all, having that heart that, hey, you have many lives in your hands. I think that's the first thing. And then you must really work hard so that you give the best experience to every one of the students that come through you. Yes, some days it's going to be, a bit tough. You may feel exhausted, but you must gain strength from your relationship with the students. Every kid's smile should set a smile in your heart, and then be strengthened by this. You walk down the corridor feeling a little bit down, and one of the kids says, "Good morning, Mr. Lim," or "Miss Ng," with a smile. I think you must gain strength from such things. I think that's the secret of being a great teacher. Even when you feel down, when somebody smiles at you, and then you put on your best smile. But be genuine, okay? You cannot smile and pretend to smile, because it will show in your eyes. I think this is a great calling. You have accepted this, and you will have no regrets, because you are dealing with people's lives. It is not about making profits. It is about making lives. And you cannot ask for a better calling or a better job.
Each teacher encounters unique situations, but the advice from our pioneer educators remain timeless. We hope that their wise words will stay with us as we embark on our teaching journey.
I would advise them not to get disheartened too fast and too soon, to expect to make errors, to expect to come across problems, and to give themselves time to settle down and to prepare, lesson plans and such things. Because give yourself 1 or 2 more years so that you get used to it, and so that you get used not only to the environment but to the topic that you are teaching, and your all the aids that you are preparing would be able to use them again the next year, which means that there'll be less planning, less preparation, and so in that sense it'll be easier. So don't give up too soon. Expect not to be perfect. You are bound to make errors. Everyone makes errors somehow or other, you see. So if you give yourself that sort of attitude, expecting not to be perfect, to be overwhelmed now and then, and if you're not too hard on yourself, I think you will be okay.
Well, as an educator, we imbue trainees with strong desire of lifelong learning. I think my personal advice to current school teachers is to teach them the 4L. Endeavor to learn, learn how to learn. Number 2 is to love. Love all you teach, and to live and to lead. So these are the 4L that we need to know.
You should use whatever is available to you as far as teaching aids are concerned. But having said that you use your teaching aids, then you have to find yourself interesting as a teacher. Because if you don't find yourself interesting as a teacher and you find yourself boring, then of course you are boring.
You cannot tell yourself, I am this type of teacher. You are no type of teacher. You must be every type of teacher. No, you chose to be a teacher because somewhere along the line you felt that you can make a difference. I think till my dying day, my life that started with my teaching career, with my students, I think it will end that way. I have no regrets about coming into teaching. I'm so glad that I was given a chance to become a teacher.
At the 7th Teachers Conference 2014, Madam Fong said, "As a teacher, you are a role model. We earn people's respect by being a good example and a good role model. These are the timeless traits. When people entrust you with their children, you cannot let them down."